Adetola's love for Deji was all-consuming. She had fought to have him and refused to let anything threaten her marriage. However, what she called love was a smothering grip that only grew tighter with time. Every woman in Deji's life was a potential threat, and Adetola made sure they stayed far away. Deji receives news that a new branch manager will be arriving soon. To his shock, it is Funmi, his former schoolmate. They had been close in college, and he remembers her as intelligent, ambitious, and fun to be around. The news excites him, but he hesitates to share it with Adetola. Funmi arrives, and she and Deji quickly rekindle their friendship. They share stories of their college days, and laughter fills Deji's office. But an innocent conversation becomes dangerous when a coworker, who knows about Adetola's jealousy, warns him to be careful. Adetola senses a change in Deji. He comes home distracted, smiling at his phone. Her instincts scream at her that there is another woman. Determined to find out, she begins secretly monitoring his phone calls and messages. Adetola convinces herself that something is happening between Deji and his new boss. She visits his office unannounced and is livid when she sees him laughing with Funmi. The warmth between them fuels her paranoia, and she makes up her mind, Funmi must go. Deji notices Adetola's growing coldness and erratic behavior. She asks odd questions about Funmi and insists that he quit his job. He reassures her that nothing is happening, but Adetola refuses to believe it. Adetola gives Deji an ultimatum: quit his job or risk his marriage. Deji is stunned by her demand and refuses to give in. But Adetola isn't one to back down easily. Adetola starts following Deji after work, convinced he is meeting Funmi in secret. What she sees only fuels her anger, Deji and Funmi sharing a meal after office hours. To Adetola, this is all the proof she needs. In a fit of rage, Adetola storms Deji's workplace and publicly confronts Funmi, accusing her of being a homewrecker. The confrontation turns ugly, and Deji is forced to drag his wife away. But the damage is done. Deji, frustrated by his wife's behavior, considers resigning to restore peace at home. Funmi, however, urges him not to let his wife's paranoia control his life. Caught between his marriage and his career, Deji is pushed to the edge. Adetola refuses to let things go. She decides to take matters into her own hands. If Funmi won't leave, she will make her leave. She begins gathering dirt on Funmi, searching for anything that could ruin her reputation and push her out of Deji's life for good. Funmi starts receiving anonymous messages warning her to stay away from Deji. The messages grow more threatening by the day. At first, she ignores them, but when she finds a dead rat left in her office drawer, she realizes someone wants her gone. Adetola finds an old scandal involving Funmi from her previous job. She anonymously sends a message to Funmi, threatening to expose her past mistakes unless she resigns. Funmi, shaken but not broken, refuses to give in. Adetola turns her rage toward Deji. She locks him out of their bedroom, refuses to cook for him, and spreads rumors among their neighbors that he is having an affair. Deji, humiliated and exhausted, tries to reason with her, but she has already made up her mind. She will make his life unbearable until he cuts ties with Funmi. Deji tries to report the threats against Funmi, but before he can act, Adetola sends false complaints about Funmi's management to the company's headquarters. Funmi is summoned for questioning, and her job is suddenly at risk. One evening, after a heated argument, Adetola destroys Deji's work laptop and throws his important documents out the window. Deji, barely containing his anger, warns her that she is pushing him to his limits. But Adetola just laughs, claiming he belongs to her and no other woman will ever take him away. Funmi finally decides to confront Adetola. She shows up at their home and warns her to stop the threats. But instead of backing down, Adetola lunges at Funmi, grabbing her by the hair. Deji has to intervene before the fight turns brutal. Adetola warns Funmi that if she doesn't leave, something worse will happen. Adetola bribes one of Deji's colleagues to take photos of him and Funmi together and sends them to their workplace anonymously. The scandalous images spread quickly, and Deji is called in for questioning. He is on the verge of losing his job. Deji finally snaps. He packs a bag and tells Adetola he's leaving. But Adetola, in a moment of madness, blocks the door, threatening to harm herself if he walks out. Deji, torn between fear and frustration, hesitates. In a final act of rage, Adetola waits until Deji is deep asleep and pours hot water on him. His screams fill the house as he writhes in pain. Funmi rushes to the hospital after hearing the news, but the real question remains, will Deji finally walk away from this toxic marriage, or will he still try to hold on? As Deji lies in his hospital bed, bandaged and weak, he reflects on everything. The woman he married, the woman he thought loved him, had almost killed him. And yet, the woman he barely paid attention to, Funmi, was the one helping him heal. The contrast stings, and for the first time, he wonders if he has been blind all along. Funmi stays by Deji's side, ensuring he gets proper care. She listens to his frustrations, encourages him to focus on his health, and even helps handle work matters. Deji starts admiring her kindness, intelligence, and strength. A feeling he thought had died long ago starts creeping into his heart. Adetola, however, remains unbothered. She believes Deji will crawl back to her, just like always. In her mind, the attack was necessary, a warning. She underestimates the damage she has done. When Deji is finally discharged, he does not return home. Instead, he checks into a hotel. Adetola is furious, calling and texting non-stop. But Deji does not respond. For the first time, he feels the weight of freedom. Feeling cornered, Adetola spins a new story. She tells family and friends that Deji has abandoned his marriage for his female boss. The pity and outrage from those around her make her feel powerful again. At work, Deji finds himself at the center of whispers and stares. The rumors have reached his colleagues. Funmi, too, becomes a target, with Adetola's lies spreading like wildfire. But instead of breaking them apart, the situation only draws Deji and Funmi closer. A friend informs Deji that Adetola has gone to social media, painting him as an abusive, unfaithful husband. The damage is immediate. His phone floods with messages, and his reputation takes a hit. Furious, Deji decides it is time to act. Deji returns home unexpectedly. Adetola is overjoyed, believing he has finally come back. But her smile fades when she sees the coldness in his eyes. He lays down the truth, he is done, and their marriage is over. Adetola refuses to accept it. In a final attempt to keep Deji, Adetola fakes a suicide attempt, hoping to guilt-trip him into staying. But instead of winning him back, Deji is disgusted by her manipulation. He realizes that staying would mean his destruction. Deji files for divorce, shocking Adetola. Despite her tantrums, lies, and schemes, she cannot stop the inevitable. As she watches Deji move on, the painful reality sinks in. The very marriage she fought so hard to protect is slipping through her fingers, and there is nothing she can do to save it. Adetola refuses to sign the divorce papers. She believes Deji is only angry and will eventually change his mind. However, Deji is done. He moves out permanently and begins the legal process. The reality of losing her husband finally starts hitting Adetola, but instead of self-reflection, she blames Funmi for everything. In a desperate move, Adetola tries to win Deji back by pretending to have changed. She begs him to reconsider, promising to be a better wife. But Deji sees through her act. He reminds her of all she has done, from ruining his peace to almost killing him. His words sting, and for the first time, Adetola realizes she might have truly lost him. Despite her protest, the court finalizes the divorce. Adetola watches helplessly as Deji walks away, finally free. She is left with nothing but regret, yet her jealousy still burns. She convinces herself that Deji will eventually suffer without her. Life takes a new turn for Deji. Without the constant stress, he flourishes at work. Funmi remains a supportive friend, but Deji soon realizes his admiration for her has turned into genuine love. Unlike Adetola, Funmi respects his space and trusts him, making him feel valued in ways he never did before. Adetola, now single, struggles to find stability. She tries dating again, but her jealousy remains uncontrollable. The men she meets are nothing like Deji, they have no patience for her insecurities. Each relationship ends in disaster, with the men either abandoning her or retaliating harshly. For the first time, Adetola experiences what it feels like to be on the receiving end of emotional abuse. One of her boyfriends cheats on her openly, mocking her jealousy. Another physically abuses her for questioning his whereabouts. She begins to understand the value of the love and patience Deji once showed her. Adetola starts reflecting on her past. She remembers how Deji once adored her, how she had a loving home, and how she destroyed it with her own hands. She tries reaching out to him, but he has moved on completely. He does not respond to her messages, and she realizes she has lost him forever. As the years pass, Adetola finds herself stuck in a cycle of short, unhappy relationships. No man tolerates her jealousy the way Deji did. She becomes bitter, realizing that some mistakes in life are irreversible. Meanwhile, Deji and Funmi's bond grows stronger, leading to a serious relationship. One day, Adetola sees Deji and Funmi together. The sight breaks her. Overcome with regret, she approaches Deji, apologizing sincerely for everything. Deji listens but remains unmoved. He tells her that while he forgives her, he will never forget what she did. Adetola finally understands, her actions destroyed something that could never be repaired. Adetola is left alone, a prisoner of her own insecurities. The love she once had is gone, and she now lives with the painful truth that some mistakes cannot be undone. Deji, on the other hand, has found happiness again. As he moves forward, Adetola is left wondering what her life could have been if only she had trusted her husband instead of letting jealousy consume her. The story ends with a haunting question: was it worth it? The story teaches many lessons. In marriage it teaches the following lessons. 1. Adetola focused so much on controlling and eliminating every woman around Deji that she neglected to nurture her own relationship. 2. Instead of strengthening their bond through love, trust, and self-improvement, she chose manipulation and destruction. 3. If she had focused on being a loving and supportive wife rather than being suspicious and violent, she might have maintained a happy marriage. And 4. Her actions didn't stop Deji from living, in fact, they made him respect and love another woman more. Instead of obsessing over threats, real or imagined, improve yourself emotionally, mentally, and in communication. A secure partner is more attractive than a possessive one. In life it teaches the following. 1. Jealousy destroys what it seeks to protect. Adetola's excessive jealousy was meant to safeguard her marriage, but instead, it drove her husband away. Similarly, in business, envying a colleague's success can lead to toxic actions that damage your reputation rather than elevate you. 2. Trust is the foundation of any relationship. Without trust, even the strongest bonds will crumble. Deji's love for Adetola turned into resentment because she never trusted him. In business, a lack of trust between partners or employees can create a hostile environment that kills productivity. 3. Insecurity blinds you to reality. Adetola saw threats where there were none, ultimately pushing Deji toward the very woman she feared. In business, focusing too much on competitors rather than improving oneself leads to self-sabotage. 4. Some mistakes cannot be undone. Adetola's reckless actions left her unable to build another stable marriage. In business, unethical behavior driven by jealousy, like backstabbing colleagues, can permanently ruin one's career. 5. True success comes from self-improvement, not sabotage. Instead of being consumed by jealousy, one should work on becoming a better partner or professional. Confidence and personal growth naturally attract respect, love, and success, while jealousy repels them. Jealousy often makes people believe that the only way to succeed is by bringing others down. However, true success comes from working on oneself, not by sabotaging others. Conclusively, whether in marriage or business, jealousy creates a false enemy and blinds you to your real problem, your own insecurities. Instead of trying to control or destroy others, focus on becoming the best version of yourself. Do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube page Whispers of the Ancestors, with just a click on the subscribe button below, to enjoy our stories coined with life lessons. Once again, you are welcome to the home of morals.